everybody. Hi, do you remember me? My name's T Plays Nice. I don't know what episode this is. It's been a while since I last podcast. Lots have been happening, lots been going on. But I've still been knitting away and I've still been enjoying things. So, I'm T Plays Nice, otherwise known as Tracy. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram and all wide web thingies as T Plays Nice. There is a little Ravelry group to go with these podcasts. It's inactive at the moment because I've been absent for so long. But I've been watching all the amazing podcasts still, and it's drawn me back in a little bit while I've had a week off work. So I thought my plans today have gone a bit awry, so I thought I would come back and say hello to everybody. To all returning viewers, if you still hang around, hello, it's nice to see you again. And to anybody that finds me purely by chance or accident, it's nice to see you and thank you for taking the time with me today. So what's been going on? Quick recap. Last time I spoke to people, my husband had just had his heart attack and I was about to part on a training program as a healthcare assistant in a local hospital on an acute assessment dementia unit. That's going well. That did start as planned in September. Unfortunately, November, my husband had his second heart attack and was rushed into hospital and had to have a stent fitted. So I had to have time off for that. They were absolutely fantastic and brilliant. They supported me throughout. Yeah, so he had his stent fitted. 2 weeks later he was home and on the road to recovery, and I've resumed my studies and my learning. So that's all going very well. We're still up and down the hospital because unfortunately they don't think the stents worked 100%, but we shall find that out in the next couple of weeks. So it's all been a bit busy, but I have still been knitting. So, without too much hubbub, I'd like to give a few shout outs to a few new podcasts I'm watching lately. I still watch The Bakery Bears, I still watch Little Yellow Uke, Little Bobbins, I still watch Pen Hook and Needles Girls, still watch Denise of the Knitting Down when she's out and about. So I've still got quite a few. Oh, Victorian Studio podcast, I still watch quite a lot. But there's a few snuck on my list. My list is ever growing. I do now watch Shannon from Socksetterer. I watch the mother and daughter Chelsea and Sue of Chelsea's Knits, Legacy Knits. So I do tend to watch them. They are hysterical. They've actually drawn me back into podcasting, watching quite a lot because I just love their chemistry. I watch the Grocery Girls. I watch Sticks and Twines podcast, Molly from the Homespun House, Wool and Vine, and Inside Number 23. I do love watching Katie. I love watching Katie. I love her accent. Although I'm from the UK, I've got a very Devonshire, Plymothian accent, so ours is quite soft and R-y when we talk, whereas Katie's proper English, and it's lovely. So yeah, those are the podcasts I'm watching, and I am involved in some of the knit-alongs at the moment. But first I'm going to show you some of my finished objects. You have to bear with me because I've not been doing this a while, so I've got to kind of like keep referring to notes and keep referring to my Ravelry to find out. Sorry, it's not letting me in now. Oh, welcome back everybody, Tracy's back on form. So I've been doing the winter camp with the Canadian True Canuck Girls podcast. I'm in Team Snowy Owl with Storm Coast as my team captain, and we were doing really well until Nina Phillips in her socks got in there. So we're all kind of clambering to get our projects back. My first project I did was in January. I finished it, and it's the 1 for 2 hat pattern by Eleanor Troshina, and I've done it with the Woolmize Pure 100% Merino Superwash wool. Sorry, I'm reading. It's a bluey greeny colour. It is, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see much of it. Oh, there we go, you can see the stitch definition on there. Now this is probably making a head start. Oh, glasses on. Forgot I had them on. This is making a head start, pardon the pun, on Christmas knitting probably. So if I go, it's nice because it comes down over the ears and it's got a little bit of slouch, but sorry, my hand is cutting really badly as well. So it's not too bad. So quite happy with that. Probably Mum will be gifted that. So that was one of my projects for winter camp. My second project for winter camp, I actually did a Mina Phillips shawl. Bear with. Sorry, got on the floor. A Mina Phillips shawl pattern, and it was the Sunrays shawl, and I actually did this one in Lang Yarns Jowl Magic Degrade, and it is a lovely, lovely pattern. I love the pattern, and I really liked the yarn when I bought it, but I don't like the yarn now it's knitted. So it really is quite rainbowy, and you've got all the lovely stitch pattern there. I just don't know, I just don't think the colours are me, to be honest. So, and I don't know anybody that would wear it. I might ask one of my colleagues. I'll just put it in the staff room and say, will anybody get used to this? Because unfortunately, otherwise I can see that just sitting in a box. So that was my February winter camp project. So I was quite happy with those two. Ooh, I did do, I can maybe show you a picture. Whilst I was doing that, my husband gifted me for Christmas some Patterns Aran wool, and he bought me the leaflet to go with it. Bless him. So he bought me a pattern, and I have actually finished that one, and that was a winter camp bonus project, I would call it, because it wasn't, can you actually see that? So yeah, that was my Patterns Aran jumper, and it is acrylic yarn, but it's okay. Once I'd knitted it, the pattern was lovely to knit, really interesting, because every so often you've got to change. It's 4 little blocks of pattern, and every time you go up a pattern repeat, one of the blocks moves along type thing. So it was quite an interesting, you had to watch what you were doing pattern, and it was very interesting to do. Once I'd knitted it and blocked it, it's lovely to wear. It's quite a bit big on me. I tend to be back in that whole body morphic thing where I'm thinking I'm bigger than I am again, because I'm putting on a little bit of weight, so it's just gauging my size again. I'm still doing the whole not quite getting the right size thing going on. But that was that one. So that was an extra project that I managed to get in. This is all since January, so I mustn't grumble. What else have I done? Oh, I did my first pair of Afterthought heel socks. Now, I would love to show you my socks. I just did a basic vanilla sock and did the Afterthought heel. I would truly love to show you them, but they were for husband, and I can't get them back to show you because he won't take them off his feet. So that was my Afterthought heel sock. So that was another first for the year getting me done, and I used the Zwerger Garn Opal Classics in the exclusive colourway, and it was a really nice colourway for the men. I really like that. I was naughty and I bought that in Spinner Yarn in Tracy in Devon, which is a bit of a luxury shop for me to go to. So it takes about 40-45 minutes for us to travel to, but I go there when I fancy a day out every now and again. Don't always buy, because although it has got some lovely yarns, I like my local yarns stores near me. I've got lovely ladies that are closer. I just wish they'd branch out a little bit, but my local one is. So more of that later. So what else is going on? Well, I've done, oh sorry, it's all pictures at the moment to talk about. I've done my Mother's Day socks. It's alright, she won't watch this. My mum just had a little bit extra. I've already done her some soaps and some face cloths that I've done a long time ago, and you've seen them before, right back. I think it might have been episode 1 or 2 of the podcast, I'm not quite sure. And I've done my own little thing, a little pair of socks just for Mum for Mother's Day, and that's just using bog standard Serta country style 4-ply. It's a bit thick really for socks. It is a 4-ply, but then it's going to be nice and snuggly and warm for Mum. So that is basically, no it's not all my finished objects, because I've got March winter camp object. Now March's bonus thing, I don't know if many people are doing the winter camp or following what theme, but March's was green, something for the hands, I think it was hands, and a designer to get extra points. Well, I only went and got extra points for the green because I've been working on my Kate Davies Fintry. I've wanted to do a Kate Davies pattern for so long. I do love her patterns. They are really super lovely, and I actually did Fintry. I can show you a picture of this in a moment, but I actually used Knit Picks yarn for the first time. This was Knit Picks palette, and as you can see I have, oh, if I can take it back, finished it. And again, I knitted a bigger size for comfort with these, and I actually did stitch a pretty little button band on the inside, and instead of actually doing a buttonhole, I did the button. Sorry, my lighting's not very good. I haven't done this for so long. I'm all of a dither with it, to be honest. I actually use the press studs rather than do a buttonhole, and I think it just looks a lot neater. I use the like little clear press studs, and I just think, yeah, button band's not distorted, and it's just, oh, really loved that pattern. It was so lovely to do. As I said, I used Knit Picks palette in the Edamame colourway, and it was on 3.25 needles. So I can actually show you a picture. It's knit bottom up in one piece, then you do the sleeves, and then you add the sleeves for the yoke and go up that way. So there we go. I'm hoping you can see this. My lighting's rubbish, sorry, I apologise. So that was another finished object for winter camp. As you can see, I've been knitting like a dervish the last few months. So that basically are the majority of my finished objects. I have done Owlagun because you wait so long to do a Kate Davies pattern and another one comes along, but the Owlagun was, I'd started it to do the Inside 23 podcast cow, the Harry Potter knit along, and I'd planned that I was going to do the Owlagun, and I ordered my yarn, which was Drops Eskimo, and I thought, oh, it will take me the knit along to do it, but I've had a week off work this week, and I finished it. It's over there blocking, as we speak. So yeah, that was a really quick knit, even for me. It took me 3 days isn't it? It is a chunky yarn. It is a bulky yarn. I can show you a picture of the Owligan by Kate Davies if you've not seen it before. And I just thought, Owligan, it's got owls on it. What can be more appropriate for Harry Potter? And then I went on to Pottermore, like everybody else is doing, for the knit along, and got put into my house. And it's no surprise I'm in Hufflepuff, really. So I was in Hufflepuff, and so I'm going to put, when it's blocked, I've got yellow and black buttons for the main band going down, and I've got tiny little, that's not going to help at all, but I've got tiny little yellow buttons for the eyes, and they're special buttons because I didn't go and buy these buttons. Many of you will remember a long time ago in one of my podcasts I talked about my nan's button tin. My nan passed away when my daughter was little, and my daughter is now 29, and I think Joanne was 18 months maybe when my nan passed away. So these have all come from my nan's button box, so it's going to make it a little bit special. But that is the Owligan pattern, and you can see the owls are across the top. So that was for my Inside 23 with Katie Knit Along for the Harry Potter. It's all done, it's all dusted, so I might have to later on, after I finished a couple of the cows I'm working on, cast on some Hermione stocks with some yarn that fell into my basket the other day when I wasn't buying yarn. So that's that one really. Sorry, I'm looking down a lot today, but I've got my project page open and I'm trying to think, what have you seen and what haven't you seen? And I'm not going to go back to stuff before Christmas because it's just so long ago. So that is all my finished objects. This was a finished object before Christmas, and it's just King Cole pattern poncho, got a hood, nice little square hood. But as I said, I'm not going to go into past projects before Christmas. So what am I working on at the moment? My local yarn store, local to me that is, she's not got a website, she's not online, she's got an online presence but it's purely an informational page, and it's called The Wool Palette. Now she is doing an Afghan along, and we are actually using pure wool Aran blue Leicester from one of the local spun farms for this. And basically the way it works is you do it every month. You pop into the shop, you buy your 100-gram skein of yarn, and you get your pattern for that month. And there's 2 blocks a month. There's a patterned panel and there's a more plain panel that you can knit from your skein of yarn. And I know it was another yarn stop she bought the commercial rights, is that right, commercial pattern for, so she's allowed to do it and distribute for people that are, is that right? It sounds right. But it was originally done by, sorry, I digress. It's a 12-month knit along. Every month you go into the shop, you pick up your yarn, you pick up your plain and your pattern panel for that month. We're using Blueface Leicester, 100% British yarn. I'm reading it now because I'd lost it. And as I said, she bought it from the rights to distribute it from another yarn shop. The lady who designed the actual Afghan project, if I remember right, is Rachel Kay. Rachel Kay. From the wool, she did it for the Wool Bar. That's it. So the Wool Bar. So either contact the Wool Palette if you're interested in going on this, and you can find them online. And they're a Plymouth-based wool shop, and it's Plymouth 651878 if you're interested. She might post it out to you. I'm not sure. Or maybe the Wool Bar, wherever they're based. But that is, I'm just making sure there is nothing on there. Can you see? Yeah. So basically you go in once a month, you pick up your pattern for that month. Now I only went in looking on Monday, Tuesday, one of those days, for sock yarn, and she happened to mention she was doing this, so lamb to slaughter really, isn't it? So yeah, I picked up January's and February's. Now that's January's. That's a snowflake. I'm doing the Aran weight. You can do it in either Aran or double knit actually. And it's an Afghan along, they're calling it. So that is my snowflake. And the block works out approximately 12 inches by 12 inches. So that was January's patterned one. And there is a different plain one for each month as well. So this is the plain one for January. And as you can see, it's got moss stitch to match the edge of the snowflake one. So that's my January plain one. I've also done my February patterned one. Again, it's 12 by 12, so that's my January pattern one. And honestly guys, I knit 2 of these a day. So it's when I'm home. It's going to change when I'm back at work because I do 13-hour shifts some days. But when I'm home, I can do 2 of these quite easily in a day. So that is my February. Now I'm working on my February plain, and then probably over the weekend, probably Sunday, no, she's not open Sundays, probably tomorrow I'll go back and get the March one. So that's something I'm working on. That's something on my needles at the moment. Something else I have on my needles at the moment is a project that's not for anything other than me, because I've been watching a lot of, I think, Little Foxes, Tiny Paper Foxes. Is that it? Tiny Paper Foxes podcast. Started a cow last year, and 2 along, make 2 along. And it inspired in me that I would like to actually make my own wardrobe for 2016. And I'm a novice sewer, so I am going to try and start sewing. I've got a sewing machine beside me. I've had 18 months, 2 years. Just took up a pair of trousers once. So I'm hoping, oh, and it's made a couple of project bags. So I kind of like need to get into my sewing a little bit more. But then I've picked up this pattern off of Drops. Drops something or other. It's the Drops website. And it's called First Lady. On my project page it's called Skirt Insanity, because it's 4 ply and it is a lot of purling. So that's your waistband, and you work 12 centimeters in purl 4 knit 1, and then you increase in the purl section and you do another 12 centimeters. Yeah, and you're on to purl 5 knit 1, and again you get another increase further down. So it is basically a fairly plain grey skirt to go with everything else that's on my needles at the moment. I can show you. Sorry, everything's just going to pile up. If I remember the pattern. Can you see that? So it's a fairly plain skirt just to go with everything, all the little jumpers and things I have planned on my needles, which I've got a lot planned on my needles. A lot planned. Get sidetracked all the time. So I have also been watching Eric. Oh, he's so lovely. He just seems such a genuinely lovely, lovely man. Eric from the Sticks and Twine podcast. I'm doing his Stephen West Exploration Station knit along. Now, I'm sure I don't need to show. Sorry, you're getting a lot at the top of my head. I'm so sorry. I'm sure I don't have to show anybody the Exploration Station by Stephen West. That's it. Now this started at the beginning of March, and I had to fess up to Eric. I did start it a couple of days early because I was getting impatient, and I'd finished my Oligan, I'd finished my Fintry, I'd finished the socks I had on the needles, and I didn't have much else going on, so I cast on. And I had to learn, or I am learning, how to do this lovely stitch called brioche. So if I can, oh, I've stopped mid-row, so I can't really show you. That's my colours of my exploration station. You see, exploration station. And I'm learning brioche. Never done it before. So I'm using the yellow and the beige, and on the other side it's the beige and the yellow in the other way. Do you know what? I was listening to everybody talk about brioche and I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. And I watched Stephen Rest's video for brioche, and I really could not get the language. Not Stephen's, he doesn't use language, he doesn't blaspheme, but I could not get the terminology of the burps and the barks. Brioche knits and brioche pearls, basically. And then I actually watched, rather than listen, I turned the sound down and I watched what he was doing on the video. And I thought, all he's actually doing is yarn forward and either knitting two together. When you slip, you're making sure the yarn is forward. You slip your stitch and then you either knit two together, or you wrap the yarn around the needle again. You know, kind of, yeah, you do wrap it around the like slip stitch basically. Bring it to the front of your needle again and purl two together. So it was kind of, so you're just making sure your yarn's at the front, knit or purl, slip, knit, purl, yarn at the front. So it goes slip, yarn at front, slip. Now if you're purling, you make sure the yarn comes forward again and you purl two stitches together. And then you do your slip, bring it forward again, purl two together. And if you're doing it knit, the bark row, you're basically bringing the yarn forward, slipping, then taking the yarn back to knit two together. And it was like, it's not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Practice. And once you get it, it's kind of like, once you've realised what you're doing, you can. I have to look at the beginning of every line, right? Am I barking or burping? Basically, which I like to say as, am I knitting two together or am I purling two together? That's all you need to know. And then I kind of like know if I'm purling two together, I need to wrap around the slip stitch. If I'm knitting two together, it's just got to flip over. So exploration station is on the needles. Now this stage, we're all supposed to be starting on the 10th of March, but I think, to be honest with you, this is the pattern. Once you get going and once you've done that, you're not going to wait a week to go on to your next stage, are you? No knitter's going to do that, really. So Eric has kindly opened up phase 2 for everybody that wants to go on. I think he's not putting no time restraints on any of us, but there's no actual... It's not going to matter if I fall behind, because Eric's a sweetie and I know he's not going to, as long as it's finished by the end of the cow, that's going to be fine. But I don't think he's going to say, no, you have to stick to starting phase 2 on phase 2 deadline and all this, I think. So, but the one thing I'm not looking forward to is ends. I've got ends to weave in. So I will weave those ends in at some point. So that's Eric and his exploration station knit along. You can find his group on Ravelry. He has got a podcast, and that is one of the ones I'm working on. The next one I want to work on is, I'm thinking in my head, I've got no show notes, so this is really on the fly. Wasn't expecting to be doing this today, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. So the next one I've kind of like got on my needles is with the Mrs. Brown's bags. The two sisters from the Grocery Girls podcast. Now they're doing a 3-colour cashmere shawl knit along. And this is just such a divine pattern by... Why are they selling... Oh, I can't say this name. I think it's... No, if I was going to say it as you read it, it would be Georgie Locatelli. But I know that's completely wrong, and I think it's Hoki Locatelli, because of the pronunciation. And it's a three-colour cashmere shawl. Now I might seem a little bit boring to everybody with this. I'm trying to find a picture of it for you. There we go. The 3-colour cashmere shawl. Now when I did my Fintry, I had three balls left. Actually 3.5 balls left. So I just bought 10 balls. I looked at the yardage, it should have been right, but for some unknown reason it's come out I've got 3.5 balls left. I don't care, I've got one yarn left and I've got a cardigan that fits, no problem. So when this shawl pattern came up and I saw the green, I thought, oh, that's a shocking green. But then I thought, ooh, I could knit a matching one for my Fintry cardigan. And I just went off and bought some normal... This is going to be a budget knit. It's not an expensive knit for me. This is my budget knit for the year because my budget basically went to pot, and you'll see why in a moment. So I just literally went off and bought some Stylecraft 4-ply, which is wool and acrylic. More wool. Or is it? Oh, I don't know. I think that might be wool and nylon actually. But I digress. So we got that, a nice light grey, and then I went and got some Red Heart 4-ply, which is the wool and the Red Heart Sport Sock, which is a 4-ply, and it is 75% wool and 25% polyamide. So I've got those two colours to go with, if I can just pick it up. There's my other half ball. With that. And that is going to be, sorry, the light is really not great. So that is going to be my 3-colour shawl for, sorry, the Grocery Girls cow. So that also started this month, 1st of March, I think. I've yet to cast it on, so I'm hoping to cast that on today. It's going to be on 4mm needles. So, hope to cast that on today. I know, I'm going to be so busy, I'm back to work next week. So, that's that. I think that's all my wicks. So what I plan to do, or stash maybe, yeah. When I went into the local yarn shop the other day to, what was I looking for? Oh, I was just going over because I know Barbara, the owner, quite well, and Tracy, the girl that works there. I used to work there for a little time before I went into the nursing or healthcare assistant training. I picked up the Afghan, knit along as you do, which I have started, as you can see, February's playing, but I've gone over to have a chat really and be a bit nosy because they said on their little group on Facebook that they'd had some Debbie Bliss sock yarn in. I need to stop. So this is the Debbie Bliss sock yarn. It's got the, it goes from a really, really deep purple with black to a lighter purple, almost to a pink. We've got some of the reds with the purple, then it goes to red and blues. I think there's some green in that, green and yellow. If I peek through, you've got greens and red, and you've got the yellows and the reds. And I think that was £9 something a ball. But you get, it's a superwash wool, 75% wool, 25% polyamide again. It's 100 grams, and you get 400 metres, 437 yards. That might have to be my Hermione socks and some mittens. It is quite soft. It is quite nice. But what's that? Oh, my sorry, my First Lady skirt I'm actually doing in Drops Fable, which is 75% wool and 25% polyamide. I can feel a theme coming on here. So that's that one. And what else? Oh, so that was my local yarn shop that I go to because they're my friends. I love them. I really wish more people would use them locally, rather than going into places like Hobbycraft. We're going to lose our independence in a minute, ladies. That's all I'm saying. Use them or lose them. So, I love my little independent. They're so friendly. To me, a lot of people say, oh, but you can get it cheaper on the internet. I'm going to say 2 words for you, ladies. You're paying for experience. You're paying for knowledge. I know that if I buy the yarn and the pattern from my local yarn, or not necessarily the pattern, because she's very aware of Ravelry, she understands, she's not catering for everybody, she can't cater for everybody, not everybody's going to want to buy their yarns from her, but she very much understands the importance of customer service, and she understands Ravelry does an amazing thing with patterns and things, and she's more than happy for people to go in with their patterns that they've got and match up yarn. And if they've bought the yarn, she's very, very helpful. If you're stuck on a pattern, you go in and say, I need help, she will help you. You don't always get that off the internet. Some shops, yes, but not many, as far as I'm concerned. So I just think the local, sorry, soapbox rant, the local independent shops are so important. So I will support my local independents where I can, when it's basic yarns. Or, as I said, she is getting a little bit back because we've now got the 100, and she knew I was interested in dyeing, so she said, as I walked through the door, she did say to me, you can purchase this yarn to dye. It's not just for the knit along, the Afghan along. So, but off my little soapbox, I also went out to, it's not very far from my house. It's only about 40 minutes, if that. I live in Plymouth, and there's a lovely little, can't call it a village, it's a lovely little town called Tavistock. And they've got a lovely market that you can go to. They've got some lovely restaurants out there. It's very picturesque, and they've got some very boutique-y shops out there. And in the market they have got a wool store that sells major distributors, and I would say King Cole is one of the main ones that they do. Just outside of the market you've got a craft shop, quilting wool shop, papercraft called Soft Touch, just outside, and they again do King Coles and Sardar. Do they do Sardar? I think they do. They do those in there. And then on the main high street just off, you've got the Knitting Corner, and she does James C. Brett Sardar. Again, nothing really unusual. Then one day I was browsing and I heard of a shop called Yarns at Tavistock, and I'd not heard of these. I think they're fairly new, but they're up the other end of the town centre. And I thought, ooh, look at the website, and I saw she did some fibres for spinning or felting, and I noticed she did do a couple of other companies, and I know she does Rooster Yarns and Juniper Moon, and I was like, wow, I'm going to go and have a look. Wasn't really supposed to be spending, and I don't know why this caught my eye, because it is a machine washable wool blend from Ella Ray, and it is 75% acrylic, 25% wool, but it's the Cozy Soft Prints. I've not seen it before, and I just thought, that looks nice, and it is a double knit. Yeah, 3.75 to 4.5mm needles, and there is 195 metres, 213 yards for 100 grams. I only picked up the one because it is like a double knit, because when I went to pay for it, and I was going to go back and pick up another ball of it, I saw this, which is 100% pure wool, 100 grams, 200 yards, in the colour charcoal, from More Than Wool, which is a loco yarn dyer, spinner, breed. And I just thought those two in some way together will become something yummy and lovely and scrummy. So that's some more stash. This is the stash. This is just stash at the moment. I've got a couple of sweater jumper size stashes in a minute, and I can show you what I'm planning to do with them. But I was enabled by Little Bobbins, and she was talking about Little Bobbin. And she mentioned this lovely company, Felt Fusion, and I just happened, oh, I'll have a look. I do, when I'm watching podcast, I'll go and have a look at the yarns and see, and I'm not always, the problem is with me, I get these lovely yarns up here, you can just about see, and they come like this. And I can't bear to not have it like this anymore. And it's kind of like, it sits there. I need to start using my Lush yarns rather than just looking at my Lush yarns. So this is, as I say, from Felt Fusion. It's the Boggling Socks colourway, and it is the Superwash Merino, Line-On and Sparkle Sock yarn, 400 metres on 100 grams. Guys, I don't know if you can see, it has got the most yummy navy, greys, pale blue, pale pink, white, scrummy sparkliness. Now, I originally bought this to do a pair of socks with, because everybody buys nice yarn to do socks with. I can't bring myself to actually knit that into something that's going to be put on my ugly feet and be hidden in shoes. No. It's gonna have to be knit into something pretty to up here, so I can see it every time I look at it. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But then, I loved you. Oh, I love you happened. I went on, and I don't know what made me do it. I'd heard of this company back last year. And I come here, okay. And all of a sudden, their name popped into my head. Now I know this lady, normally she does updates and colourways go bump. And I hadn't noticed an update happening because I wasn't on Instagram very much. And this is before my week off work, and I thought I'd seen a shawl I'd like to do, and it's called the Aisling shawl. If I can find a picture. I've got to go into my library now, out of my projects and into my library. My library has grown so much. I was hoping something would come in the post today to show you. It's not. Thank you, Amazon. It's not. There we go. It's the Aisling shawl, shawl by Justnia Lokoska, I think. And it is the most beautiful, beautiful shawl. I don't know if you can see how beautiful that shawl actually is. So this happened, and it's from the Wool Barn. I love her packaging. The Wool Barn. And I got merino, it's her merino silk singles, superwash single ply sock, fingering weight yarn, 70% superwash merino, 30% silk, 100 grams, 400 meters, 436 yards on a skein. This is powder, and I got powder and silver to do my Aisling shawl. And I cannot recommend this yarn highly enough. It is so super soft. It's got the most lovely sheen to it. The packaging was delightful. You get sweeties. Oh, I got sweeties. But hubby nabbed one. But yeah, hand dyed in England, the Wool Barn. She's on Etsy, guys. She has got, or she was on Etsy. She's now got her own website. She had an update last week, and I naively went along and I popped the nice purple and the nice peridot green colour she had in my car, and I was in and out on another, and I got jacked. Carjacked. I did not know. Carjacked. I missed it. She's got some lovely neutrals left, and I was going to have a look on her update yesterday, but there's building work going on at home, so she's not updating this week. I think it's next week now, but I think I must yeah, I think I might have to have a little visit to the website again. So that is those stashes. Now at Christmas I was very fortunate because my mum remarried. Oh, it's got to be 10 years ago now. But yeah, it might be longer. 10 years ago. We lost my dad. My mum needed somebody in her life, and she met a gentleman, and she remarried. He gives my mum anything she wants. They go out quite a lot, but my mum's one of these ladies, she doesn't actually need anything. What you give somebody that doesn't need anything. You know, she's got everything. If she needs anything, she'll go and buy it. Now, my mum's new husband struggles at Christmas. He doesn't do, we were a family, we're not big spenders on one another, but we were brought up very much that we like joke presents at Christmas. We do like some jokey presents as well as a main present. But to be fair and honest, our main presents aren't expensive. We budget, we put on one another how much a main present would be for one another. So for my children, my main present to my children is roughly in the area of £50, which is still a lot of money for me. But I give them a few stocking fillers, socks, sweets, cups, that type of thing. I do tend to do a Christmas Eve box for them, slippers, socks. My mum's main present to us is normally about £25. We're not an expensive family. We don't. I kind of like, gone are the days when my children were growing up. I realise now how bad it was when they were, and we fell into the trap, mobile phones for Christmas, things like that. No, that's not what it's about. It's about being together, spending time together. But my mum's husband struggles to go off and do this for my mum. So he tends to go off and buy her a main present, and he does buy her a big main present. I balk at what he spends on my mum. And he gives me quite a substantial amount of money to go in and say, go and buy the silly presents your mum likes. I'm no good at that type of thing. Just go and buy some silly presents from me. So I would go off and buy her a few things that he wouldn't normally look at, something different. I'll go to the independent craft fairs around and buy her something unique and different, which he would just go into the mall in town and buy stuff. So I do tend to look for different things for mum, from him. And sometimes there's a couple of things in there from their dog as well. And the last couple of years, as a little thank you, he's just gone and bought me a little present to an open Christmas Day, just from him to me, not from him and my mum, just from him. And it's been a lovely little piece. And I must admit, normally it's a little bit jewellery, and he realises I don't wear a lot of jewellery, so it's been very dainty jewellery. And then he realised I'm afraid of breaking dainty jewellery, so I don't wear the dainty jewellery very much. But he really did take on board that I like to knit. And he gifted me with some gift vouchers for House of Fraser's, a large department store over here, and they have a haberdashery wool department that's again does very much the I'm trying to think of the ranges they do, but the one I go in there for is Rowan. They do Rowan in there, and I will go in there and buy Rowan on a rare occasion. They do the opal sock yarns, and they do a couple of the less expensive companies, but I do go in there, I admit, to buy my Rowan, because I do like knitting with Rowan 4-ply. She says, excuse me. Oh, no ball band. Oh, you're down. Pure wool 4-ply. I do like knitting clothing with this. It's quite a nice 50 gram 100% wool, but it washes quite nicely, so it's quite nice. So I tend to go in there, and he gave me a very substantial gift voucher. So I kind of I was looking at the Tin Can Knits Light Flax that I bought this yarn with intentionally to do that. I'm still don't know whether I'll do the Tin Can Knits Light Flax, because I've not done one of our patterns yet. I understand they're really easy and very well written. But I keep looking at the flax and I think I'd like to do it. And I've also looked at the Harvest cardigan. And I do like to do our patterns, but I get distracted by other patterns of loveliness. But with flax in mind, I went and bought a sweater's worth of this. So I've got 4 skeins of Rowan Fine Art hand painted sock yarn. Fine Art 100 grams, 400 meters. It's just no name to it. It's colour 302, lot 217, 362. Yep, that's about it. Oh, there we go. Made with merino wool, kid mohair, polyamide and mulberry silk. So it's the Fine Art. And I don't know if you can see the pinks and the brown. There's plummies I would say. Can you see that? Sorry guys, the lighting, I know. So I'm thinking of Tin Canet's Flax Light with that. Because there's something that should be coming in the post in the next couple of days that might change my mind. So I'm thinking, let me know what you think. Tin Canet's Flax. Light flax. And then that was out the voucher. And I was gifted some other vouchers and I had some of those vouchers left. And I saw this lovely pattern. She says, I saw this lovely pattern. The Rosina Pullover by Faden Still. And I just think it's really unique in its construction. It's okay, I've just seen one that I've kind of looked at and thought, oh, I don't like the way she's pulled that down. She's pulled it down like a tube, and it's more of a sit there peplum type top to it. Sorry, I digress. Not sure if I'll do this because of this other thing that's supposed to be coming in the post, but it's the Rosina Sweater by Faden Still. I don't know what it is, but I just like the unusual construction on that. And I went and got my sweater's worth of Rowan Pure Wool Supply. I always like to knit oversize anyway, guys, because of my body dysmorphic, whatever. So I got this colourway. It's like a duck egg blue. I would say a deep duck egg blue. Colourway 450, lot 4686. Again, 100% wool, 160 meters for 50 grams. Superwash merino wool. So I'm thinking to do that. Yes. And that brings me on to the thing I've been hinting to, is it should arrive in the post. Whilst I was looking at, I do like every now and again to go into Ravelry and just click the patterns link and just look at everything that's been added. Not necessarily looking for anything in particular, just looking for anything that's been added. And I saw a book advertised by Jennifer Wood, Refined Knits. Oh my gosh, guys. That's the Refined Knits book. And I think there might be 2 patterns that I wouldn't want to knit. But I'm just thinking underneath my Fintry, I'd like to do the Vivian. I love that. I love, oh sorry, Vivian is knitted in fingering. Then you've got Victoria, which again is a light fingering, and the pattern on the back is repeated on the shoulders and the front. That's another one of the patterns. And then again, that's a fingering, but she does go into, oh look at it, Idril, is it Idril? This is a fingering. Oh, so beautiful. I'm not sure you'll see it on that. Sorry, I'm just trying to bring up a picture where you'll see the beauty. That's Idril. Can you